So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just whistle you through just a short chairman's presentation, if I could. So you've heard about our people, our innovation, our culture, and I just want to dwell on that because it actually matters. We've shown a little about what that culture is, and we've spoken about the encouragement, the enthusiasm, the never ever give up attitude, the absolute sense of family, the deliberate care for each other, the humility which we demand in all our leaders, and the vulnerability to each other and to each other's opinions, which we insist on. But it's all not soft edge, ladies and gentlemen. We do say publicly, like I do now, that if it isn't for you, if these principles of really how to live, how we live, aren't for you, then we're very encouraging that you find a place more suited to you, which isn't Fortescue, because this is who we are. And it does drive performance. I mean, Fortescue only 10 years ago was really getting started. Now it pays the similar level of royalties to the state of Western Australia as the whole iron ore industry did back then. So it works. It really works. And, you know, it's a culture which has driven not only that growth, but that ownership, that sense of ownership, that we're all burning in the fire of time and that we're all going to look back on not what we had or what we owned, but what we did and how we felt. And it's that really deliberate sense of ownership we instill in all our people. And that also drives the performance when other companies were slashing their dividends or cancelling them. In that last economic route we went through, our leadership took the decision to increase our dividends. And, you know, I consider that a really strong vote for shareholders. When all our peer group was eliminating dividends or slashing them, we increased ours. It just shows how strong we consider the priority, that it isn't the management, it isn't the leadership, it's you, our shareholders, which essentially we work for as we work for the state of Western Australia and the country of Australia. And we're doing it through driving a competitive position. I know that Nev and his team will not rest until we have the most competitive cost of production in the world. And that's quite simply where we aimed at when we started the company, where we're going now, and where everyone inside those 8,000 odd employees of Fortescue, contractors, where they believe we're going. And they believe we're going there because it's they, our people, who are taking us there. And just to continue that outperformance comment, we've been able to increase our dividends through really tough times, but we've also been able to dramatically reduce our debt. And when Nev says we've now got net debt of $4.2 billion US, well, you know, I have to say to my kids, that sounds like a lot of money. And they say, well, Dad, I think you're in real trouble. And, you know, I cop that, but the reality, of course, is that when it took $22 billion to establish what we have in the Pilbara in double quick time, with efficacy, integrity, and with frugality, and speed and determination. You know, that $4.2 billion isn't much against that $22 billion. So you can see how much performance is driven. We don't compete on grades of iron ore. We don't compete because we high grade the Pilbara. We're not immensely proud that we're shipping out the highest grade in the Pilbara, because what that really means, ladies and gentlemen, that the finite resources which the people of Western Australia own are being high graded. I just need that to sit with you for a moment. When Nev and his team really invest heavily over that 4 to 5 years he spoke of in the technology which isn't recognised for years, to work out how to take sub-economic ore to economic and do it with the lowest cost of production in the world, that's preserving the ore bodies of our children and our grandchildren. Because if you just mine the easy stuff and sent it straight to a ship, which we see our peers doing, and they gloat about their high grade. And I'm saying, well, actually, what you're gloating about is in your period of your chief executiveship or your chairmanship, you're going to tick a box and you don't actually care for the next guy or the next guy or the children or your grandchildren, because you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't flick the jam off the Pilbara toast off our children's inheritance. You would take every little tonne of iron ore you could and you would put it through a plant which would eke it out and preserve those ore bodies for future generations. And that's what we do at Fortescue, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really proud of that, and that intensity of focus isn't going to stop. When I referred earlier to the discipline of this company, the integrity of this company, the determination of this company, and Nev spoke to you about a set of cultural aspects which Owen very kindly referred to with great strength. It isn't a smorgasbord, ladies and gentlemen. You can't say, well, we're going to take all that empowerment, but we're going to forget about frugality. We're going to spend the shareholders' money. No, 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 no. You're empowered to save money. You're empowered to do it the same job less expensively and safer than you did yesterday, your second job. So, of course, that example stems from the top. It stems from our leadership. And we're immensely proud of it. And it comes through that diversity. We take advice from wherever we can get it, from our Indigenous brothers and sisters, men and women all across the company, and we listen because they have the ideas, and that diversity gives us strength. I know there hasn't been a decision which has been really made well inside the Fortescue board that hasn't had the airing of all sides. And I'm delighted that strength of decision-making comes from the diversity and the ongoing diversity of our board. So you've heard me speak, ladies and gentlemen, of that strong and differentiating culture, and it's because we actually do believe we're working for a lot more than just ourselves. And the men and women of Fortescue are encouraged very strongly to think like that, and as you've heard me say, encouraged also and helped, if which we're happy to do, find work elsewhere if it's not who you are, because we really like our people to know they're contributing to something a lot greater than just paying off the car or the house. We are here building an organisation which will go to touching the hearts and lives of millions of others who will never meet. And it will do so through the dividend flow of this company, not through reaching for the company's chequebook. And Nev occasionally gets asked about, where does the Minderoo Foundation and the Fortescue Group sit? Is there interlinking chequebooks, or does one fund the other? Well, absolutely not. Fortescue Metals Group funds the Minderoo Foundation through its dividends and through the heart and energy of its people. There's been so many times, from the bushfires down south to numerous volunteers, where we've asked for the Fortescue family to step up and make a difference, because we don't need capital. Minderoo can supply it, but we do need leadership, we do need hands-on, we do need volunteers by the hundreds, and Fortescue people have always stood up. I'm incredibly proud of that family aspect. So just to take you through a little bit of part of the differentiating attitude of Fortescue, that we're just not there for ourselves, but all of us are there for greater than ourselves. The 5 key principles through which Minderoo Foundation works on is encouraged by, but not with the chequebook of, the Fortescue Metals Group, is Generation 1, which is to eliminate the Indigenous disparity, the foundation to attract the brightest minds in the world to the state of Western Australia and the country of Australia, and to prevent those great Australian bred and educated minds from leaving. And I'm delighted that we're really analysing growing the foundation, because it really is working well. We're having to turn away applicants who've invented a plasma which can differentiate between the impurities of raw sewage to the impurities of salt water and produce fresh water instantaneously. And even people like that haven't been able to win their position in the Forest Scholars. So we are actively looking at growing it. It's gone through its risk profile. Walk Free, of course, is what Prime Minister Theresa May called the greatest tragedy, the greatest challenge of human rights in our time. And you know, there's a lot of competitors there. We've got everything happening in the Middle East, the legal immigration crisis and the like. But 45 million plus people are trapped in slavery. And Prime Ministers and Presidents around the world are now using the numbers created by global research, empowered by the dividends of Fortescue, to recognise we have a massive challenge, and working with business, governments and communities, we can defeat it. Thrive by 5 we will touch on in the video. Incredibly important, as my wife Nicola says, we're moving down the pipeline from offering people guaranteed employment through offering training, meeting people where they are. If they need arithmetic or English or writing, it doesn't matter to us. We get people into work, and then once there, they grow and grow and grow. But to help people get into work, we need to remove the impediments such as drugs, such as alcohol, or a poor start to life, which all of us have avoided because you're here in this room and we take for granted, but others are not nearly so lucky. And of course, arts and culture, that's just genuinely building our community. So if I could just point to you that commercial success leads, of course, to philanthropy, leads, of course, to social impact. This is very much what Fortescue stands for. And I'll just give you a quick run around the traps of what the Fortescue-funded Minderoo Foundation does. Thank you. It's one thing to see a problem and walk past it when you can do nothing about it. It's an entirely different notion to see a major problem and not walk past it.
If you can see a change in one life, one community, a spark is lit, it has a ripple effect. That gives you hope that it will continue.
Just knowing that even if it's just a small change that you can make to affect someone's life, even in a simple way, it is possible to make change if you really want to try.
The Minderoo Foundation was established in 2001 to support community initiatives in Australia and abroad. Minderoo's efforts include fighting modern slavery, achieving parity for Indigenous Australians, ensuring every child has a strong start to life, developing leaders in innovation, and enriching the arts and community sector.
The authenticity of the entire Minderoo Foundation is that we actually don't think that we have all the answers.
Of course we have to look after our most disadvantaged, but we also have to help them be lifted up and not kept there.
Once you let a person know they have rights, they will never go back to believing they don't. The world must move on. We want to do our little prod to help the world. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So when we do present the company to leaders of other countries, of course, that is part of it. And they say, well, you are the most unusual mining company in the world. And we say we happily accept that criticism.